Greetings, dear viewers. This is the Cross Moto channel. In this short segment, I would like to tell you about the first and, in my opinion, one of the most beautiful Jawa motorcycles. Here is the Jawa 500 Rumpál. Before I move on to the story, I sincerely want to thank everyone who supported the channel with a donation. Thank you very much. Now we can get started. Here in the photo is Franciszek Janocek, the founder of the Jawa company. Few people know that Franciszek started with weapons manufacturing, but as soon as World War I ended, the demand for weapons dropped sharply. It didn't take long to find a use for the idle production facilities. All over Europe, weapons factories started making motorcycles and bicycles instead of guns. Some even ventured into making cars. It was a bit too ambitious to start producing cars right away. Although Jawa would later manufacture cars for a certain period, it was decided to start with motorcycles. In order not to bother with developing a motorcycle from scratch, it was decided to buy a production license. The choice fell on the German company Wanderer with their K500 model. Although this motorcycle was initially in demand in Germany, with the appearance of more powerful and faster models, it quickly became outdated, and the demand for it in the German market dropped catastrophically. Because of this fact, the Wanderer company was quite accommodating when selling the license. By the way, the name of the Jawa company is derived from the first letters of the owner's name, Janecek, and the company from which the license was purchased, Wanderer. In the Czech Republic, they didn't copy the design of the German motorcycle exactly. They modified the harsh Teutonic style of the Wanderer to make it more cheerful. They especially redesigned the gas tank's shape. That's when the signature red color of the Jawa motorcycle appeared. In all other respects, the machine remained the same. The single-cylinder, four-stroke overhead valve engine with a displacement of 500 cc and a crankshaft positioned along the axis of the motorcycle produced a maximum of 18 horsepower and was paired with a 3-speed gearbox. The drive to the rear wheel was provided by a drive shaft. The frame was made of stamped steel. The motorcycle weighed 175 kilograms in the solo version and was capable of reaching a top speed of 110 kilometers per hour. Fuel consumption was about 5 to 6 liters per 100 kilometers. The price was set at 14,000 to 14,900 crowns. Some units were also equipped with a sidecar. In this version, the maximum speed was about 90 kilometers per hour, and the weight increased to 280 kilograms. The price was 17,000 crowns. It soon became clear that a motorcycle in this category was not a good choice. Moreover, the global financial crisis reduced the already low purchasing power of the population. The high price, especially considering that in the same year a small single-cylinder car appeared on the Czechoslovak market, which in its basic version cost no more than a Jawa with a sidecar. The Jawa 500 Rumpál suffered from various malfunctions. Most often, it was the front fork that failed. Thus, as early as 1930, the model was redesigned, eliminating most of the initial issues and simplifying the design. The front fork was upgraded. Instead of the bulky design, a lighter and more elegant one appeared. The headlight was replaced, this time with one from Bosch. The second generation of motorcycles that same year was sold at a reduced price of 14,000 crowns. The third and final generation of Rumpáls appeared in 1931 and differed from its predecessors mainly by having a fourth gear in the gearbox and a different shape of the muffler. The end caps were designed in a fishtail style. The third generation, in the single version this time, cost 12,000 crowns. Jawa 500 Rumpál was produced until 1931. The last machines were discontinued in early 1932. Only 1,016 of these machines were produced in those 3 years. However, despite the modest production run, it was a great experience for the Jawa company. The next model, developed by the English designer George William Patchett, was the Jawa 175 Villiers motorcycle. It was presented at the Prague Motor Show in 1932 and was positioned on the market as the best motorcycle for not much money. It was a model with a two-stroke engine of 60 cubic centimeters with a power of 5.5 horsepower, which weighed 70 kilograms and could accelerate up to 70-80 kilometers per hour. In the very first year, 3 times more Jawa 175 Villiers motorcycles were produced than the 500cc Jawa. Among the people, the first Jawa got the nickname Rumpál, which in Czech means winch. The sound of the engine running at low revs resembled the sound made by a winch. So, my friends, this is the first and one of the most beautiful Jawa motorcycles. Due to its limited production, the Jawa 500 Rumpál is a very rare motorcycle and has survived only in a few museums and in the hands of enthusiasts. This brings my story to an end. Thanks for watching. See you next time.